guys, and welcome to another video where today we apparently have a slightly controversial topic. I didn't really know that until I started researching it. And speaking of research, I have links to all of my sources in the description down below, and while I'm thinking about it, I'd like for you all to comment and tell me what you think. I am always open to new ideas, and I really want to hear what you all have to say about this. I'm very interested in what all of you people think. But of course, you can't have a helpful opinion if you don't know what we're talking about, so let me tell you about this. Now, of course, if you're in school, you know that schools have started installing internet filters, and it's annoying. But in researching this mess on account of another thing that I'll talk about later, I learned that actually these internet filters have been in effect since sometime between 1999 and 2000, depending on what sources you're looking at, thanks to the Children's Internet Protection Act. Regardless, the filters are really annoying, right? I mean, us kids are just trying to check Twitter and Instagram during our downtime, and it's not working too well because the sites are blocked. Or maybe we're trying to play an innocent little game, that's blocked too. And of course, we're all getting frustrated. But for the moment, that's off topic. And why? Because I'm here for a reason. All this research was prompted by something, I'd tell you what it is. So, a few days prior to the writing of the script, schools in my district blocked not just a website, but the entire Google Chrome web browser. Now let that sink in. An entire browser. By the time I found out about the block, I already knew why. Google Chrome has VPN extensions, and those extensions could get around the internet filters. Hell, I used them myself so that I could upload to DeviantArt and Instagram and Twitter and off my laptop. So, in retaliation to this monstrosity, I wrote a short, well-worded email and sent it to not to my principal, but to our district superintendent. I figured that if I was going to stage an attack, I might as well aim for the head of the beast. But I sent the email not really expecting anything. I've sent emails to her before and they'd garnered no response, so I closed the tab and let it be. Little did I know that when I checked next, I would receive an email from, not the superintendent, but someone whose name I didn't recognize. Her email would tell me that it was actually illegal for us to be using VPNs to get past their internet filters, and as such, they'd have to take as many measures possible to prevent our use of VPNs. I let her be. At the same time of this interaction, I wrote up a petition to remove the blocks entirely. I'll link that in the description as well. We'd really appreciate your signatures. We're trying to start something here. Last I checked, we had 38. It's not going so well. If you want to know what the petition is about before you sign, I won't read it to you here, but the gist of it is relatively simple. Students are being deprived of a tool that they could use to better themselves and their own lives. That tool being unhindered access to social media and research on the internet. Now, I can hear it already. All these parents who may or may not find this video being enraged at me for making such an accusation, but hear me out. Our youngest generation was born with such a wealth of unfettered knowledge at their fingertips. And I get it, you don't want us watching porn. Really, that I can understand. But blocking Twitter and Instagram and DeviantArt and social platforms, that's a mistake right there, and let me tell you why. The first and simplest reason is this. The internet now connects us further than we've ever been connected before. For the longest time, we were alone, only able to speak to the small number of people within our communities. Public school children like me have the same classes every year with the same people over and over and over and over and over again. And let me tell you, half the people I know are idiots, and I don't want to socialize with them because they're just going to get me in trouble. So the internet is a way to meet people with similar interests and communicate with our fellow man. We are social creatures. The other, more interesting reason is something that I've been diligently working on for years now. The internet and social platforms present entrepreneurial opportunities for our students. Allow me to explain. The internet is super cool, and our generation now has something amazing that they can accomplish. We can take some mundane skill and turn it into a profession if we work hard enough at it. On YouTube, there are people who build useless robots and play video games as a profession, and it works. Other people do silly skits, but that's beyond the point. In this day and age, you can do literally anything you want as a profession if you work hard enough at it. And it's all thanks to the internet. I mean, look at me. I'm a 15-year-old artist, and I have a schedule. I regularly upload to DeviantArt. I do challenges on Twitter. I'm a musician. I use these platforms to market my brand, and it's working. Just yesterday, as I'm writing the script, I got my very first commission request. That was something that, a year ago, I wouldn't have imagined would ever happen to me. How could I, just some youngin' from the South, manage to turn this passion of mine into a career? But you know, I worked hard, and here we are a year later, and I'm getting out there enough that someone has decided my art was good enough to buy. That is an accomplishment. No thanks to the internet filters that I constantly had to find workarounds for. Furthermore, as I've just remembered, schools don't have to block things that they block. In fact, if you think about it the right way, they really shouldn't. Allow me to read part of the Children's Internet Protection Act. Schools and libraries subject to CIPA are required to adopt and implement an internet safety policy addressing appropriate matter on the internet, the safety and security of minors when using electronic mail, chat rooms, and other forms of direct electronic communications. Unauthorized access, including so-called hacking and other unlawful activities by minors on lines. Unauthorized disclosure, use, and dissemination of personal information regarding minors, and measures restricting minors' access to materials harmful to them. Schools subject to CIPA have 2 additional certification requirements. 1, their internet safety policies must include monitoring the online activities of minors, and 2, as required by the Protecting Children in the 21st Century Act, they must provide for educating minors about appropriate online behavior, including interacting with other individuals on social networking websites and in chat rooms, and cyberbullying awareness and response. Now, based off these experts from the actual act from the FCC, linked to this in the description as well, you can check for yourself. The school is really only responsible for blocking porn and things that relate to porn. Basically, students aren't allowed to be watching people fucking each other. Simple and makes sense. We don't need to be thinking about sex. God knows we're going to because of how hormones work, but we don't really need to. They are also required to take measures against hacking, which the use of VPNs really does kind of fall under. But how can you blame us when they are completing their 3rd responsibility? Schools are also responsible for teaching us how to interact with others over social networks and chat rooms, and teach us how to respond to ourselves and others being cyberbullied. Now, they've got the cyberbullying bit down. They tell us all the time not to bully people, and we have an hour-long assembly every year at least once talking about bullying and how to prevent it and where it's prominent in this day and age. All the time. That part, they've got covered completely. But what was that other part about? Teaching us how to interact with people over social networking sites and chat rooms? No, they don't do shit to help us with that. All they do is keep us from learning about it by blocking it from our access. Now you tell me, does keeping us from the material sound like teaching us how to use it? I mean, we learn from experience. Think about it. You can tell me how to drive all day, give me a book to read about it, but does that automatically make me a good driver? Hell no, it doesn't. Same for artistry, or playing an instrument, or writing your first name, reading, anything really. You learn through experience. So how in the world do they think that they're teaching us how to use social networks by hindering our experience with them? Now, obviously, we're finding ways to get to it. We're using those VPNs and stuff, but it's no thanks to the schools, who are supposed to be teaching us how to use them anyways. So filters should be removed. That's kind of what I'm getting at. At the very least, they should be dialed back a lot. Now, I know what everyone's concerns are going to be. If students are active on the internet all the time and allow games, then they'll stop paying attention in class and doing work. And to that, I have one thing to say. Hold students accountable for their actions, or inactions here. If a kid knows that he can get away with anything scot-free because the teacher won't let him fail, he'll keep being stupid. Over and over and over again, he will fail until he's allowed to make it up without actually learning from his mistakes. He won't learn anything, and then the entire point of school is broken. There's a lot that we can do on the internet if we're allowed. If we fail ourselves, we should be held accountable. But otherwise, we can make a whole life with nothing but that search bar up there, as long as all the roads are open to be explored. Take me. I'm actually getting somewhere. And all it took was a little elbow grease and a lot of frustration. Keep it as a lesson. Unhindered, we can do a lot. I got that first commission request, after all. You can follow me on social media, where you'll find posts of all my art. Any of my finished pieces are uploaded to DeviantArt, and I post works in progress as well as daily month-long challenges works on Twitter. If you like my style and want a piece of your own, I do commissions on DeviantArt and have a Zazzle shop. Links in the description below. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and comment. I would love to read what you guys have to say. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.